Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Johan, and I'm a typical Dutchman. And I react to all kinds of videos about life and living in the US or life and living in Europe, or specifically the Netherlands. And if you like this kind of content, reaction videos about life and living in Europe or the US, then you should hit the subscribe button. We're still looking for some subscribers to get to the magical 1,000 subscribers. So if you feel like it, please hit the subscribe button. It would be really appreciated. And for today, we're gonna take a look at the video from Traveling Expats. The truth about free tap water in Europe. Is tap water, I don't see is, but is tap water in Europe safe? Okay, I live in Europe. I've traveled through Europe. So yeah, let's take a look at how this traveling expat, I do not know if it's a European or an American or even British or something like what it is. So, but let's take a look what his opinion is about the tap water in Europe.
Let's talk about water, specifically drinking water in Europe. Lately, in the last couple weeks, I've read a lot of articles. I've read a lot of questions that people have online about the drinking water in Europe. And specifically, they want to know two things. Number one, is tap water or faucet water in Europe safe? And number two, they want to know, will they be served free tap water when they go out to eat in Europe? So let's talk about it. Now,
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Those are the two main questions. Is it safe? And can you get it for free? Yeah, it's safe and it's not always for free. I have to be careful.
The first thing I want to discuss is this question about, is the tap water, the faucet water in Europe, is it safe? Now, when I first read that, I have to admit, I thought, what a silly question. You know, I've lived in Europe, traveled throughout Europe since the mid 1990s, and
Where is he? This is a nice looking, I guess, castle. Yeah.
drink a lot of water, and everywhere we go, I drink water. You got to stay hydrated, right?
The famous US expression, you got to stay hydrated.
Never had a problem. And in fact, when I think about the water in Europe, specifically the water here in Germany, I think about
Germany.
the purest, the cleanest, the most refreshing water I've ever had anywhere. So I thought, well, why would someone have questions about the safety of the drinking water in Europe? So I was like, well, okay, so I know my personal thoughts, but let me look it up. All right, so I found this report called the Environmental Performance Index, or the EPI, I guess. And this is a report produced by a collaboration between Columbia University and Yale University, both in the United States. And they ranked the quality and the cleanliness and the safety of drinking water in many countries around the world. And I was looking at this report, and the top 20 countries of the quality of drinking water in the world, 19 of the top 20 are European countries. And the only country in the top 20 that's not a European country is Japan. And Japan...
Finland, Iceland, Netherlands, Norway, Switzerland, United Kingdom. We shared all the first place. Wow. Malta and then Germany. But Germany has clean water. Less clean than over in the Netherlands. I hardly notice it. Especially when they say Switzerland. So, okay. Luxembourg, Sweden, Italy, Greece, Denmark, Ireland, Spain, France. Japan is the only odd dog in this list. Austria, Cyprus, and Belgium. Way down? Strange. I would say I've not been in all of these nations. I've not been in Greece, Denmark, Ireland, and Cyprus, and Japan, of course. But in Finland, Iceland, the first two. But I never tasted any difference between tap water in all these nations as in comparison with my own. But let him do the talking.
And ranked at number 17. And to look at this even closer, the top 6 countries on this report, all European countries, had an almost perfect score for water cleanliness and healthfulness of the water. And just FYI, Germany ranked very high, not quite perfect, but Germany was number 8, which is very good. The United States only ranked number 26, so it didn't rank quite as well. And, you know, in the last, I would say 15 years or so, we've seen plenty of reports about places in the United States that have poor drinking water. I mean, there's Flint, Michigan, there's Jackson, Mississippi, there's the Central Valley of California.
The EPA reports that work remains before the water system in Jackson MS reaches long-term stability. Oh, it needs more work. Okay.
Yeah, Houston, Texas, and many others where the water quality is very poor. So with all this in mind,
Houston, Texas, water supply meets federal and state drinking water standards. Okay, so that should be okay in Houston, where the Dutch team is.
Why would travelers from the United States question the safety of water in Europe? And I have a couple theories why this may be.
Yeah, I want to know them.
Number one, most people in the United States, when they travel outside of the country, the first place they go is Mexico. And Mexico is famous for having non-potable water. I mean, the water in Mexico is so bad that we make jokes about it, we write songs about it, there's TV commercials about it, and everybody talks about don't drink the water in Mexico. So it's well known. So I guess if that's the only place you've ever been outside of your home country and you know you can't drink the water there, then it might get you thinking, well, maybe we're the only place that's safe to drink the water.
Could be. Could be. American bubble, we are the best of the world. So we are the only country that have drinkable water. Could be. I wonder, but could be, yeah.
So that's one reason.
Sorry.
I think. The second reason is because I think Europeans, or especially Germans, tend not to drink much tap water, at least the ones I've been around. It seems like they would much prefer go to the store and buy some water like this in a recyclable bottle and drink that. And most of the time, oftentimes, it's going to be carbonated, so it's going to have bubbles in it. And then when they finish, they take it back to the store, get a deposit, and get a new set. So Germans, from my experience, tend not to drink as much tap water as people in the United States did, and I have a couple of, I think, pretty good examples about this. Number one, the first time Betty and I lived in Germany, this was many, many years ago, she had a friend that she hung out with, a German lady, and one morning I went running with this lady's husband. And we went, and so we met at his house, and we went for a nice run, I don't know, 10, 12 kilometers through the forest of Bavaria, very nice. And when we got back,
in Bavaria,
we're in the driveway at his house. We're kind of stretching and cooling down. And he looked at me and he goes, Wasser? Kind of like a question. And I was like, ja, bitte. And so he took me around back, took me to his tool shed. And I figured he was going to hand me a bottle of water or a glass of water or something. But the water, he got out the water hose and a brush and started cleaning his running shoes. So, talk about different culture priorities. My priority was water for hydration. His priority was water for clean running shoes. And the other example is just a few years ago, I was a member of a big fitness center here in Germany. And this place was really nice, super modern. I mean, it was one of the best fitness centers I've ever worked out at. Super modern, had great equipment, weightlifting, cardiovascular stuff, total body stuff. It was really nice. But there was not one water fountain in this entire place. And you talk about culture shock. I mean, you can't go to a gym in the United States and not have, 4 or 5 water fountains. There's going to be plenty of places to get water, to fill your water bottle up. This place, you couldn't even fill your water bottle up unless you went into the bathroom and used a sink. And there's only one sink, by the way, for all the men in the place. So that's the only place you could fill your water bottle up. The other thing, you had to buy water from a machine that had to fill water. So
that's that's the trick. You cannot fill up your bottle with tap water. There is no tap water because they, like, I believe there's a nation called commercial and try to get some profit from it. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, then you have to buy water or any other drink from the, in this case, the gym, so that they make an extra profit besides you using the gym, that you also buy drinks. So yeah, it's a win-win in this case, as in you don't pay as much for the gym, but you also have to buy, when you're there, drinks if you want to drink there. Depends on which gym you're in. If the gym does not allow that you bring your own drinking bottle. Some gyms don't have a problem with it. Other gyms explicitly say no own drinking bottles allowed. So depends on.
that's a difference. I think in the United States, we tend to drink a lot more tap water, especially when we're exercising. And in Germany, that's not the case.
Yeah, he was holding the bottle, and in Germany there are a lot of natural springs with clean drinkable water. There are a lot of fountains with original drinkable water with some kind of minerals in it or something. Those are more or less drinkable. They are filtrated and then put into recyclable in bottles and sold. But there are so many that you can try different types of water, and you will taste the difference between one spring water type, water type, and the other one. So, and with or not carbohydrated, with or ohne gas, it's. But I believe it's in the United States is the same as in you had avian, and then you have a lot of other types of water types that you can drink. So in Germany, that's the same. A lot of Germans don't drink tap water because they rather have water with more taste in it, whatever the taste may be.
All right, so if the water in Europe is safe and healthy to drink, why do so many travelers from the United States have questions about the quality of water in Europe? I mean, it's probably cleaner than the water they're drinking back home. So
yeah, I wonder too.
I think that brings us to our second point, and I think that's probably because what happens when you go to a restaurant. So when you go to a restaurant in the United States, typically you go in, you sit down, and before you even have a chance to look at your menu, they're going to put down, a glass of ice water, right? Nice cold ice water right in front of you before you even had a chance to think about what you want. And that's not the case in Europe. And why is that? And oftentimes, if you request water in Europe, you ask for it, you're going to have to pay for it. So why is the difference? What's the difference there? So, and I think a lot of that boils down to the standards of practice of the restaurant industry, right? Mm-hmm. So in the United States, their business model revolves around getting as many people into the restaurant as possible. They want to turn over tables as quickly as possible. So you get in, you get a menu, they give you your water, you order your food, they bring you your food, and before you're even finished eating, they're going to come up with a bill, and they're going to say, here's your bill, I'll be your cashier when you're ready, no rush. But they're
no rush. Okay. Yeah. He brings us nicely.
Really is kind of a rush, right? Because they want to fill that table as many times as they can throughout the night, right? Whereas in Europe, specifically, here in Germany, restaurants tend to be much smaller. They tend to be more family run. They have a much smaller staff. And if they open for lunch, they're probably going to close between lunch and dinner. And then when they open back up for dinner, they're going to have maybe one or maybe two sets of people at that table for the whole night, right? So they're not in the process of turning.
Reservations are more often required in Europe versus the United States. Absolutely. Especially in the holiday season, in the top season, so June, July, August. If you are in any of the European countries, most of the time it's highly recommended. Take it from me, highly recommended to make a reservation for that evening. If you're lucky, then you can, and if you're not lucky, then you have to make your reservation for the next evening, or let's say for Friday evening, Saturday evening. On Wednesday you'll make your reservation. I want to come over, can I have a reservation for Saturday evening? Yeah, it's highly recommended. Yeah.
Tables. That's just not what they do. So if you go in and you sit down at a table at a restaurant in Germany or throughout Europe, really for the most part, you're going to pretty much be able to sit there for as long as you want. So you might sit there for hours, whereas in the United States, typically you go into a restaurant, you're probably going to be there for an hour or even less than an hour.
Wow, an hour or less? Most people over here in Europe, in the European nations, when they go out to a restaurant, they take the entire evening. They depends on what their time is of dinner, but then they arrive at, let's say, 5:30, have dinner at 6:30, 1 hour, and then after dinner they stay, and then they leave maybe around 9-ish. 9:30, maybe even when it's a bigger group or family family gathering, then it will be 10. So then it's the entire evening for one table with everyone, and that's normal. That's how people enjoy their meal and drink most of the time a bottle of wine or several bottles of wines, and then they go each his way. Somebody pays the bill without tipping, but not tipping required, but if it's good service and they had an enjoyable evening, they will round up to an even number, and then they pay the bill, and then they will go. That's the way it is over here in a lot of nations in Europe.
In Germany, it's not uncommon to stay there for 2 or 3 hours. And so they don't turn over tables. The table at the restaurant in the United States that might have 4, 5, or 6 groups of people there in one night, that same table in Germany might only have 1 or 2 groups. So for that restaurant in Germany, it's much more important, I think. Everything has to be factored in so they can make a profit, and that includes selling drinks. So they're much less likely to just immediately give you free drinking water in Germany than they are in the United States. Now, selling drinks, of course.
If you ask specifically in a restaurant, like, because I did a lot of cycling through Germany, if I was at my destination and I got my stuff from the bike in my hotel room, and I showered and I drank something, and then I go to the restaurant and I ask again for some tap water on ice, I will get it for free, because I specifically ask for tap water. I don't do it that often. I did not do it that often because, yes, you're on holiday, you're enjoying yourself, so I usually ask for water with no non-carbon hibernated water, as Wasser ohne Gas, and then I drink. But you need specifically to ask for tap water on ice, and they will bring it to you. But yeah, it's not by default put on your table. You have to ask for it.
Also factors into the profit in the United States, but they have so many people coming in. Yeah, I don't think they worry about it as much, right? And you think about it, in Germany, throughout Europe, the
drink prices are lower when compared to the United States, but prices are rising.
Typically aren't that expensive. I mean, if you order a bottle of water, it's not going to cost you that much. So, and this, I have to admit,
I was thinking I'm gonna look it up, but he has already done it. Average cost of a 0.75 liter bottle of water at us in Germany is between €5.50 and €8.50 per internet search. And yeah, an entire bottle? I'm not sure, but he has an internet search, so okay. I'll take it, but I cannot remember that it was this expensive. So
when I first came to Europe, this kind of frustrated me too, but now I'm used to it and I kind of like it. And typically when Betty and I go out to eat, I'll order a drink, probably a beer or something, and maybe she'll get a glass of wine, and then we'll get a big bottle of water to share it in between us. And I think that's fine. I don't mind paying, €2 or €3 for a bottle of water. They're usually not very expensive.
Now he's compensating it with €2 to €3. Yeah, that's what I always have in my mindset. A bottle of water, nah, €2 or €3, and then you have a bottle of water on ice. Yeah.
All right. So the economics are different, and I guess selling beverages is.
He is at such a nice castle all the time as his background scene. One of the many thousands of castles that there are in Germany. So I do not even want to guess where he is, in which region of Germany he is.
Much more tied into the profit of the restaurant than it seems to be in the United States. And so recently, just in the last couple weeks, there was a court case in Italy. There was a lady from the United States who had been to Italy, I don't know, a few years ago on a ski vacation. And so she stayed at this all-inclusive hotel restaurant, right? I think she was there for a week. And it was all-inclusive, except it did not cover drinks with her meals. So every evening she would go down to the restaurant for dinner.
It did not. It was an all-inclusive, except drinks. Strange. I would say except alcoholic beverages. That I can understand, because then people really would make advantage of it and drink as many as drinks that they can. But okay, well, go back.
Drinks with her meals. So every evening she would go down to the restaurant for dinner, and she would try to get them to serve her tap water, free water. They refused. They wouldn't do it, so they would give her bottled.
They refused. Oh boy. Yeah. That won't work. Not with me. Not if I say I have an all-inclusive and no.
Water, and they charged her every night for a bottle of water. Well, later on, I guess she sued them. She took them to court. She demanded.
Oh boy. I sue you. You're gonna get sued, but that does not work over here in Europe. You can make a complaint about it and then go to the next step, but starting with, I gotta sue you, that won't work.
Demanded reimbursement, I guess, for pain and suffering. I'm not sure what all, but for several thousand euros she was asking for. Well, that got dismissed. It got thrown out of court. And the judge said that the restaurants have no responsibility, no requirement to serve people free drinking water. So it's not required, so he threw the case out. So that's kind of interesting. But you look at it, so what are the laws and who is required to serve you water? Because in some places it is a requirement to serve free drinking water. So I started looking this up. Now, in the United Kingdom, now, first of all, let me say that laws change, rules change, and right now, this is June 2026. So a few months from now, some of these laws may change, they may be totally different. But as of right now, the best I could find, this is what I'm going to tell you. In the United Kingdom, any establishment that serves alcohol, and I think that applies to bars and restaurants, everything like that, probably nightclubs as well. If they serve alcohol, they are legally required to serve you free drinking water upon request, right? So they're not just going to give it to you, but if you ask for it, they're required to serve you free drinking water.
Yeah, you specifically need to ask for tap water.
That's in the United Kingdom. Now, if you look at the European Union strongly suggests to its member nations that they provide free drinking water to people at restaurants upon request. Now, it's not a law, so each country has the ability to make its own law, but the European Union recommends that.
Yeah, by the time I was a restaurant manager in one of the hotels, if one of my guests asked for tap water, then it was served. So my workers, my staff, they know that if a guest asks, it is an hotel, so if a guest asks for tap water, he can get tap water. It's not that costly for the company to place tap water, because tap water is running back in the kitchen to clean the veggies and to clean the kitchen in total. So the water bill is anyway there, so it's not a problem. So in the hotel that I worked at, no, not a problem.
Now, so where is it the law? So on the Iberian Peninsula, Portugal and Spain, restaurants, it is a requirement. Now, they're not just going to bring it to you automatically, but if you request free drinking water, they are required to provide you free drinking water. Now, in France, they are required to serve you. It seemed the wording of this seemed kind of funny, but they're required to serve you a carafe of water with every meal ordered. So I don't know if that's like one carafe per person, one carafe per table, but it said one carafe. So you go, and one thing I found oftentimes in France, and I think this is really nice, when you go in and sit down and they bring you your menu or whatever, they'll just automatically bring you a carafe of water and put it on your table. So that's France.
A bottle of water or carafe of bottled water.
That's Spain, that's Portugal. And another country, Hungary. From what I understand, Hungary is also required to serve you free drinking water if you request it. Now, here's the catch. If you don't request it correctly, you might get a bottle of water and you might get charged for it. So you have to specifically ask for, I think in France, you have to specifically ask for a carafe of water. And the other places you have to say, I want some free drinking water. So you might want to learn that in whatever language of the country whatever language of the country speaks that you're traveling in, you might want to learn that phrase if free drinking water is important to you.
They give you free drinking water. I need drinking water for my dog. They will bring you. So no, not a problem. But you have specifically to ask for tap water. If you only say, I want some water, then you get a bottle of water from any brand. And we got a lot of brands in Europe. From any brand, then you get a bottle of that brand of water, and then you have to pay for it, of course.
In Germany, of course, we already talked about Italy, and it's not required in Italy. In Germany, it's not required either. Now, I've been with people who've ordered free water, and they've gotten it. Some places won't give it to you, but in Germany, I believe it's called, we would ask for Leitungswasser, and I believe that means tap water, and that's what you do.
Ich hätte gerne ein Glas Leitungswasser. Ja, das würde schon gut sein. Ja.
Ask for. If you just ask for Wasser, they're probably going to bring you a bottle of water and charge you for it. So if you want free water, ask for Leitungswasser.
If you ask for Wasser, then they ask you with, mit, ohne gas, so with or without bubbles. and then you say with or without, whatever you like, and then they bring you a bottle of water, of Wasser, and then they will charge you for it. Yeah.
And they might say no, because they don't have to give it to you. And another thing, they might charge you for it, even if it's Leitungswasser. They might charge you like to clean the glass or just to bring it to your table or something like that.
Bullshit.
And it's not going to be a lot of money, but they might charge you a little bit. So
no, they won't. Yeah, they could, but then just complain. It's totally Blödsinn.
So those are the few countries where it is required by law. You can ask anywhere. You might get it, you might not, but they are not required to serve it to you. All right, so bottom line, the water in Europe is perfectly safe to drink. In fact, it's probably cleaner than the water you have at home, right? But it's just a cultural difference between what they serve in restaurants. So you may not get served free drinking water in Europe when you travel here. And that's just part of the culture. So my advice is to budget and plan for a couple of extra euros per day to pay for drinking water when you go to a restaurant. And that's part of it, right? When you travel, you want to learn the cultures and experience different things. And, you know, getting a bottle of water at a restaurant, that's one of those things, right? So I hope you found this useful. Hope it was helpful for planning your European vacation. And let us know in the comments what you think. And we'll see you in the next one.
Wow. Good video. Correct. I need to like the video. Good video. It's correct. He was totally right about it. Some things was not totally correct, but yeah, it was good. And I was wondering why there are so many questions about the tap water in Europe, and if it's safe or not, or free or not. And I think, yeah, it was a good idea to do this. And I was looking through the comments about here. Somebody says about German not drinking much tap water. I think your personal observation, you missed one thing, especially among older people. It's considered stingy to offer just tap water to your guest. Okay, as a guest, you can insist that tap water is fine, or that you in fact prefer mineral water. That's the correct word, mineral water. And but in order to appear hospitable, your host would never give you tap water as a standard option. Yeah. It's mineral water from some spring, and there are a lot of spring in Germany that have good drinking water. I remember when I was cycling in Austria. I was cycling a steep hill, of course, and it was a warm day, and I came very high in the mountains, almost at the top. And there was water dripping down from the mountain into a canister. And I was wondering, can I drink this or not? And I asked an Austrian man that was looking with me, looking at me. We were talking about it, what I was doing. And, yeah, you can drink it. You can refill your bottle with the water that's there. And I did. And I fear, oh, if I don't, then I get problems for the next couple of weeks. But it tasted fine. It's nothing wrong with it. It was directly from the mountain into this canister, and I could refill everything that I had, and I had fresh, cold water, drinkable. It was amazing. I did not expect that. So yeah. Good. Do I see other nice comments? A lot of. So if you want to see the comments, or if you want to see the original video, the link is in the subscription. If you want to see more of my videos, then maybe this is a good starting point to do. And otherwise, it would be really appreciated if you hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.